Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Risers and Followers presented by Mojo, part of the brand new Mojo Podcast Network, which we are launching this week. I'm your host, Luke Sawhook, and I'm joined by the lovely Dalton Cates. How you doing, my boy?
Doing good, man. Excited. This is our Mojo recording debut here, so excited to be on for this.
The opening animation is amazing. We have a lot of awesome new drops and sound bites for you guys. It's going to be a great, fun little episode here. These episodes are going to be about 15 to 25 minutes long. Should be a short, jam-packed full of information and some takes for you guys. It should be pretty fast, entertaining, and fun. Get a little insight into Mojo and how it works, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you so much for checking out the first episode. And let's just jump right into it here with some players that we are buying high.
Buying high.
All right, my first guy I'm buying high is Falcons rookie wide receiver Drake London. Drake London, the number 8 overall pick in the NFL draft, coming in with high expectations in the NFL. I was really impressed with what I saw for him in his NFL debut. Led the team in targets, or maybe tied the team lead in targets with Kyle Pitts. And I'm pretty sure he had the most catches on the team and the most receiving yards on the team. Very impressive debut. He gets Jalen Ramsey in week 2, but I'm willing to buy high on Drake London. I think that he's in for a huge career. And I also really like him this season. Heading into the year, he was a my guy for fantasy football for me. I think his career projections just going through the roof, in the long term. I really like London. I think he's a talented prospect in a great situation to prosper alongside Kyle Pitts. I mean, his share price is only $13.74 right now, according to this screenshot from Wednesday, September 14th here. Dalton, what do you think about London? Are you in?
Oh, absolutely. You have to be in on Drake London. First game coming out there. Everybody's expecting the offense to be bad. Leads the team, ties the team in targets, leads the team in receiving yards. And that was when supposedly he wasn't healthy. He was questionable coming in. Great prospect coming up.
Yeah, he had the knee issue too.
You got to be in on Drake London. He is going to absolutely crush in the NFL. I'm really excited about him. Even as a rookie too. I legitimately think he can, be extremely productive as a rookie and then only get better as his career goes on. So I love that pick.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Let's get into yours. Who you got for me?
All right, so I told you I was going to go with our guy Treylon Burks, which I still love, but I am going to switch this up, and I am going to go with Justin Jefferson. I want to buy high on an asset that I already know is good, but I still think there's actual room for improvement. Right now, he has $24.66 share price on Mojo, and one thing that was really interesting to me, seeing in the first game, there was obviously a lot of talk coming into the offseason about hiring O'Connell from the Rams and using 11 personnel, being more pass heavy. But one thing they did is they're utilizing him similar to the way they utilize Cooper Kupp. That means they're putting him in motion a ton, creating a lot of mismatches for him. So Jair Alexander was the top cornerback on the Packers and one of the better cornerbacks in the league. And he gave up exactly 0 yards to Justin Jefferson. And Justin Jefferson still had 184 yards. And the reason is because they were utilizing him in mismatches against linebackers.
Less than 10 targets, by the way. Less than 10 targets.
Right?
Unbelievable.
Crazy. So they were using him all over the formation, getting him open against linebackers and safeties. 151 of his 184 yards came against linebackers and safeties. So that's something that's almost replicatable on a week-to-week basis because you can utilize him, get him those matchups, put him in motion. And once teams start adjusting and start focusing on Thielen, or they start focusing on Jefferson, Thielen and Osborne are going to get some more work, and then naturally it's going to cape back to Justin Jefferson. But we saw it last year with the Rams with Cooper Kupp, and there's no reason to think that Justin Jefferson is just a better player than Cooper Kupp. And if we look at Justin Jefferson's first 2 years in the league, he leads all receivers in NFL history in yards for his first 2 years. So, I mean, he's basically on a Hall of Fame career path right now. And assuming he stays healthy, there's no reason why at the end of his career, he legitimately is in discussion as one of the best wide receivers of all time.
Yeah, I've said this a million times on Twitter, but the debate between Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson for their entire career is going to be a really fun one. Dude, honestly, I would not be mad at all if they teamed up at some point in the future. Imagine that.
Oh, man. You got to get them on the Bengals. You got to get the Joe Burrow, Justin Jefferson, and then they got to bring back and trade for Terrace Marshall on the low, get him back. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, bring it back.
Come over.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole LSU.
Bring Coach O in there. Go Tigers. Bring him in there, and it'll be all good.
That'd be amazing. Yeah, Coach O. Hire Coach O as a senior.
Just do it. We just want one season like that. Let's see if we can do that.
Right. Yeah, I love the Justin Jefferson pick. I mean, that's kind of the definition of buying as somebody high, right? Is somebody who is already, elites, and he's going even higher as we think. And again, like you mentioned with the Kevin O'Connell talk, I think there's a lot of fire to the smoke there. Like Justin Jefferson himself said in interviews, like he watched the Rams play, and he's like, how does Cooper Kupp get so open? Like he said, like, how does he get so open? And now that I'm in the offensive system, like I understand it. And it's impressive. I mean, it really is. I mean, he absolutely tortured the Green Bay Packers secondary, which I think is a pretty good defense. Like they have a good defense this year in Green Bay. And like you mentioned, Jair Alexander gave up 0 yards against Justin Jefferson, and he went crazy. I mean, like he's in for a huge year. I definitely think that's a really, really strong buy high. And just to throw in his name out there again, as I mentioned a second ago, Jamar Chase is another really good buy high as well. Kind of a similar thing to Justin Jefferson. He beat Justin Jefferson's rookie record, who's also on his way to another Hall of Fame career projected, right? I'm interested to see if he can beat the 2-year total record that you just mentioned a second ago. Actually, that'll be fun to monitor this season.
That will be very interesting. And you know what's super interesting is their share price right now is Jamar Chase is $3.54 cheaper on
maybe good value there. Maybe a little underpriced.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right. With all that being said, let's jump into some players that we are selling.
Sell.
All right. This one, I'll let you go first on because I already know we're going to talk about it for a while.
By the way, these sound bites are absolutely epic. I love it.
Yeah.
Shout out to the design team and for putting this stuff together because it's incredible. All right, so my sell is Dameon Pierce. He's at $8.54 right now. I have a couple concerns with him. I think it's a two-pronged approach when it comes to Dameon Pierce. Is when you're valuing players, you got to value their immediate current season, and then you also got to evaluate how are they going to do the rest of their career. And I think there's questions in both realms. I'll start off with this season. I think heading into the season, especially the past couple weeks leading up to the season, when they held him out and they announced him as a starter, it legitimately looked like Dameon Pierce was going to be the guy, the workhorse, getting all the rushes in that offense. There was a legitimate. I think there is still a legitimate concern about what his receiving role is going to be.
Right.
But if he did see that receiving role alongside of the rushing work that it seemed like he was promised, then it would have been exciting about this season and getting the chance to prove himself for next year to be that running back of the future for them. But when we saw in his first game, even though he did get the start, they were an extremely positive game script for the running the ball. They were up 17 points at one point against the Colts. The Texans, according to Vegas, heading into the year, had the lowest implied total wins of any of the teams. So they're expecting to be the worst team in the league. So we don't know how many games that Dameon Pierce is going to be in a situation similar to what we just saw last week. So that was the perfect situation for Pierce. But yet he only saw 29% of the snaps. Rex Burkhead saw 71%. And Rex Burkhead also dominated him in the receiving game. He ran 25 routes. Dameon Pierce only ran 5 routes. Now, he is a rookie. And we tend to see with rookies, as the season progresses, they do see more work. But specifically for a guy like Dameon Pierce, who was a 4th-round pick, we should be somewhat concerned about this. Because the thing is, when teams only are investing a 4th-round pick and a running back, they are very easily replaceable, and they don't view them in an extremely positive light.
Like James Robinson with Travis Etienne.
Exactly. James Robinson, Etienne. We saw it with Michael Carter last year. Michael Carter actually played extremely well. He was... Out of all day 3 rookie running backs for the past 10 years, Michael Carter was 8th out of 168 in yards in their rookie year. And then they go ahead and they draft the best running back in the draft in Breece Hall next year. Right. So even if Dameon Pierce does play well, there is concern about what the Texans are going to do in the offseason for a free agent or to get somebody potentially to replace Dameon Pierce.
And this is a team either. This is a team with a lot of draft capital.
Exactly. They have a lot of draft capital. They're probably going to be picking high. They're going to probably have resources too. They aren't tied to a quarterback that's taking up a lot of their salary. So whether it comes to top free agent, there's just going to be a lot of options there for the Texans to kind of do that. And regardless, even if let's say Dameon Pierce in a great scenario, he does ball out, there's still Rex Burkhead's still 32 years old. So you still want some sort of backup guy to at least so I think it's almost a lock that at some point in the draft next year they're drafting someone, and I think it's likely that it's somebody in the top 3 rounds and potentially a workhorse too. And also next year's draft class is loaded with workhorse running
Loaded.
backs.
Literally
It's
good running
absolutely
backs.
loaded. Like, you're a big dynasty. You know that the next year, like, it's loaded. So
People have
I
been
think
talking about
that's
the 2023 draft class for fantasy football for like 3 years now. It's that
exactly.
loaded.
So
And
it's
also
high.
just to play off your Dameon Pierce tape with selling. I like him this season still. I think this season he has good value. I think he will, get a bigger role from Rex Burkhead. I mean, he's 32 years old. We've never seen Rex Burkhead be a starting running back in his entire career, pretty much. I think it's gonna lean more Dameon Pierce throughout the season. But right now, obviously, I totally get it. But I'm on the sell train for Pierce at its current price because he's being priced like a starting running back for the long term, and that's just not going to be the case, unfortunately. Unless he goes out there and balls out and absolutely forces the team's hand, which is likely not going to happen in a team where there's going to be a lot of turnover over the next few seasons as they continue their rebuild. I totally agree. And with the second they draft a running back, the Houston Texans, on draft night, his stock is going to plummet. With the live trading feature on Mojo, I mean, that's going to go down at least like 10% if they draft a running back in the 4th round or higher. I mean, come on. It's pretty simple to see the path here to selling. Absolutely. I like the pick. All right, let's go over to my guy. Put his chart up on the screen here. If you're not watching on YouTube or wherever this VOD will be published and you're just listening to it on streaming platforms, go over to YouTube if you want to see the charts. Cam Akers' chart is down 20.2% as of Wednesday, September 14th. On the week, 20% down on the week, down $2.50 following his catastrophe of an NFL Week 1 debut on Thursday Night Football, getting out-touched ×6 by Darrell Henderson, 18 touches to 3. I mean, I'm very concerned about the outlook of Cam Akers. I think his best days are behind him, and he didn't really get to have a chance to have that many good days, unfortunately. I mean, an Achilles injury is basically a death sentence for a running back's career, especially when you're looking for explosion. And even after coming off the poor performance, Sean McVay did not have any kind words for the young running back, saying that he needs to be more, decisive with his touches. And I don't have a good feeling at all about Cam Akers. I still think he's pretty overpriced at $10. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I tend to agree with you. Cam Akers is going to be one of those guys that he's going to be like probably one of the biggest what ifs for me ever, because I don't know if I could have been more confident in Cam Akers panning out. And then obviously
This season?
no, just as a rookie, like as a player, like I legitimately thought.
Well, I mean, that's different. He had an Achilles tear. You can't really do anything about it. I was a huge fan of him when he was healthy. Last season, going into the year before he tore that Achilles, I was a big fan of Cam Akers. But now, obviously, the whole thing's changed.
Yeah, it's so tough to see, and especially like he came back last year, and even though he wasn't like effective, he still got like the workhorse role, right? So then heading into this year, like, okay, well, he has like 6-7 months extra to recover before the season, and also like we've never seen an Achilles tear, like maybe he's an outlier, maybe he's just that good to where he can recover from that. And then he comes in and just the first game is getting 3 carries. They were actually like, there was a report from Schefter like the day up, like watch out for Kyron Williams. So I legitimately think Kyron Williams would have gotten involved as well. Yeah. And then Kyron Williams got hurt on a special team, so he didn't get a play. Now Darrell Henderson is the running back there, getting 84% of the carries. And what we've noticed a lot with Sean McVay over his span as a coach with the Rams is he's just relied on one running back. So we're almost at a scenario now where we need a Henderson injury in order for Akers to kind of, take some sort of role. And if he does, like, I do think he can get a lot of touches just because that's what McVay showed last year in the playoffs with him. But again, the question now becomes, is he going to be effective? I have not seen him look anywhere close to what he had in the past. So I think there's a lot of concerns there. And at his price right now, I think it's a little inflated based on those concerns.
Yeah, absolutely agree. All right, guys, that's going to do it for the first episode of Risers and Followers presented by Mojo. I will see you guys live next Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much for tuning into the first episode, whether it be on the VOD or through the podcast on streaming platforms. Dalton, thank you so much for coming on, man. I'll see you guys next week, everybody. Goodbye.